Monroe County versus McMillian, presented by Dun Dun Dun, Kayla and Desiree. And so it begins. On the right is 18-year-old Rhonda Morrison, a part-time clerk at Jackson Cleaner in Monroeville, Alabama. Miss Morrison was found dead under a rack of clothing at her part-time job. She had been robbed, strangled, and shot 3 times, but only $35 were missing. On the left is Walter McMillian, a 46-year-old African-American man. McMillian was wrongfully convicted of the murder of Rhonda Morrison and sentenced to death, but there is no real evidence incriminating McMillian, only a confession from a white man known for theft.
So, leading up to the case, we have Rhonda Morrison, a white young woman who was found dead at her workplace. And this specific murder caused the white community to become very fearful and angry because the police could not solve this case for 6 months. And after 6 months of not solving the case, the police became focused on Walter McMillian. Of course, he was an unlikely suspect, but attention was brought to him because he had an affair with a married white woman in the community. So, of course, people would get angry about that. And next, we have Ralph Myers, who was a white man who had a long criminal history, and he was pressured by the police to testify false information against McMillian, who he did not know. McMillian was then arrested by Tom Tate, a sheriff of Monroe County, and McMillian was placed on death row before his trial, and he spent 15 months on death row before they even gave him trial.
The Supreme Court case. 6 years after McMillian was sentenced to death for the murder of Rhonda Morrison by Monroe County Court, evidence suppressed by Monroe's County Sheriff Tom Tate exonerated McMillian. McMillian, now released from prison because there was no real evidence, sued Monroe County, claiming that Tate's actions were unconstitutional. McMillian and the Equal Justice Initiative argued that under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, a county is liable for the actions of its sheriff that constitute county policy. This was an effort to hold sheriffs accountable for their actions. All involved in McMillian's case was now moved to the Supreme Court, the petitioner being Walter McMillian and his advocate, Brian Stevenson. The respondent, Monroe County, and its advocate, Paul M. Smith. The Chief Justice to the Supreme Court case was William Riskert. The breakdown of Supreme Court case. Questions frequently asked during this case was, is a county liable for the constitutional violations committed by the county sheriff in matter of law enforcement? The final rulings for this case was a 5-4 decision. The Supreme Court favored Monroe County. The opinion by Sheriff Justice William held that because the county had no authority to make law enforcement policy, Sheriff Tate, as a policymaker, represented the state rather than the county. The majority opinion, those who voted against McMillian and with Monroe County, was William, the Chief Justice, O'Connor, Scala, Kennedy, and Thomas. The minority opinion, those who voted for McMillian and against Monroe County, were Stevens, Sauter, Ginsburg, and Breyer.
So, what does this all mean? After McMillian was exonerated, he sued Monroe County, and this ruling stated that Monroe County was not liable for the lack of evidence in his case because the state of Alabama was the blame for this issue because Sheriff Tate was a state official. In the 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court affirmed the lower courts, And years later, after the case was settled, the compensation was much less than what they had hoped for, and Sheriff Tate was never removed from office until he retired in 2019. So, why is this case important? This case is important because it serves as a catalyst for Alabama's compensation statute, which was passed in 2001. And since this law has been passed, there's been 47 wrongfully convicted cases, and each of these exonerees have filed for compensation, but only 4 have had their settlements approved, and only 2 have been paid in full. And here we have a video. This is the trailer for the movie called Just Mercy, and this film is based on McMillian and the Equal Justice Initiative. So if you would like more information, you can go ahead and watch this movie. And now we're going to end off with this lovely picture of Walter McMillian and his family in his hometown of Monroeville, Alabama. Here's our works cited. Thank you for watching.